Here's the assumption behind these budget numbers in terms of growth, employment and deficits. As revealed by Sky News on Sunday, a belief that there will be a population-wide vaccine in place in Australia by late 2021. There you have it, right there in budget paper number 1. That's a big lever in terms of how you get from a $213 billion deficit to a deficit in 4 years of $66 billion. It takes you in the budget papers from minus 72,000 net migration a year to plus 201,000 in 2023-24. There it is right there, contained in the budget papers, all down to a vaccine. It's also a lever in terms of how you get real GDP from negative 1.5 in this financial year. It was negative 3.75 in the calendar year 2020 to 4.75% in 2021-22 and 2.75 up to 3 the next 2 years. That would take your unemployment rate to 5.5% by 2023-24 after peaking at 8% this December. Now, there are actually some more optimistic scenarios in this budget than a vaccine late next year, which I just flagged. That's if a vaccine comes 6 months early. The budget papers say economic activity could increase by $34 billion, increasing growth by 1.5 percentage points in 2021-22. So presumably, if we don't get a vaccine, you can take 3% GDP growth a year off their forecast. But there is no scenario in here in terms of no vaccine. They have these upside and downside forecasts instead. You heard the upside one. The downside is another set of rolling lockdowns. They say will see the economy cost a whopping, will cost the economy a whopping $55 billion across 2 years. Now, what we are seeing here effectively in this budget is a replacement of JobKeeper with JOBMAKER. JobKeeper, we know this year, $101 billion. JobMaker, less than that, $73 billion over 4 years, including $40 billion next year, 2021-22, a stepping down of the support, but the budget papers say unemployment will fall. So here's a breakdown of JobMaker. It's $26 billion, allowing businesses with turnover of less than $5 billion to fully expense every single new asset. $17.8 billion on bringing forward the personal income tax cuts and keeping the low and middle income tax offset. They say $7 million will get $2,000 this year, either at the end of the year or during the year, $40 a week. The JobMaker hiring credit, $100 to $200 a week job subsidy for hiring under 35s. If they've been on JobSeeker, will cost $4 billion next year. It's a lot lower than the JobKeeper rate of $750. They say this will create 450,000 jobs, and it is because long-term unemployment would really stuff young people. That's what they're trying to avoid. $6.7 billion in infrastructure investment. A lost opportunity, some might argue. Could be more. And expect Anthony Albanese to use this as a platform, having been an infrastructure minister. The government argues there are capacity constraints. They're already committing $100 billion over 10 years. $4.8 billion in here in terms of allowing businesses to claim COVID losses of previous profits. Temporary loss carryback. There's some other gimmies as we saw as well. Two $250 payments for pensioners. JobMaker is heavily front-loaded. $55 billion of the $73 billion is this financial year and next. This is where the government can argue their support is temporary. It does not ruin the budget for years to come. We'll have gross debt, as you saw, $1.1 trillion. There are $283 billion less in tax revenues over 4 years, including $55 billion lower than they anticipated, 2021, $50 billion tax relief. There is another $200 billion in extra payments the government is having to make over the forward estimates because of COVID. But the doubt, Kieran, is around that vaccine, around the deficit and growth forecasts. It's a big bet by the government.